Courageous love now. Courageous love now. Courageous love now. Hello, beautiful people. Courageous Lara is here right now. It is January 17th, 2020, and I'm excited to drop in and connect with you all. It's been quite a ride, if I don't say so myself. I had the really great honor to be on my first podcast as a guest this last week, the Fifth Dimension podcast by Evan McDermott. You got to go check it out on the Fifth Dimension. He's on most platforms or apps for podcasts. You can find him there, also on Instagram and YouTube under Evan McDermott and the Fifth Dimension. So, where are we right here, right now? Well, I find myself on a chilly winter afternoon in the Northern Hemisphere, watching some snow flurries fall from the sky out the window, and feeling cozy and feeling ready to drop into some love, some courage, some surrendering, and calling on it now. In the contemplations of this week, I have found myself going deeper into the light of love. Now, we've talked about this probably in every episode in some degree. And I've really been just contemplating, listening to other beautiful shares all around the light and love. And what does that feel and mean when we say that? There's a lot of connotations when we say follow the light or be in love, and it can mean something different to everybody. And I suppose that that's where that contemplation pushed me this week. And in understanding the light, a beautiful analogy of being the light of knowledge, or light is knowledge. The light is truth, like a flashlight honing in on something, like a microscope, putting something under a microscope and honing in on it, is bringing light to the viewer, is bringing light of knowledge, of understanding. So, in understanding love, bringing in the light of love, there needs to be an understanding and a connection, and you need to focus in under your little inner microscope of what that is to you, like a little laser beam. And I believe that when we keep that focus in the light of love, the more that we can do is chisel away our understanding of it. Because again, as I said, everyone's definition, everyone's experience of that, everyone's feeling of that may be slightly different or deeply different. So I wanted to just allow you to really take in this idea of when we're talking about shadows and light, and I did speak about that in the last episode, there is a lot of the shadows right now, as we know, coming to the surface because there is light being shown on it. And that means there is more knowledge, there is more understanding, and just like the speed of light is so fast that once it's revealed, it's not as though you even have to see it, because that light is an energy field. It is a force that those that are in the same frequency are picking up on it. So for myself, I have one that I've mentioned earlier in earlier episodes, that I've always been a truth seeker. I've always been someone who wanted to stand in the light of understanding. I didn't want to blindly believe. I wanted to trust in love, because I know that that's where I resonate the highest, where I do my best work, and where I am tapped into something bigger than myself. And that right there is interconnectivity, because there has to be a certain amount of trust when you're going into the light of love. Trust in yourself, trust in your own body, mind, wisdom. You can say that it's trust in something bigger than yourself, your higher self, or a god, or an angel, or a guide. But that interconnectivity, that which is in us, is also an interconnectivity that is with that which is outside of us. It is always there. It is more bringing our awareness, our light to it, our focus to it, that enhances it and opens it up and expands it even further, even broader, even stronger. Like you're turning up the volume of that interconnectivity of the work and the awareness of all your cells, your atoms, your molecules, down to your genetic code that's vibrating inside you. That, all of that, everything within each one of those cells, molecules, atoms is light vibrating at the atomic level. And that vibration is what makes you you. And the more that you are connected to and aware of that vibration, which you are and which you have control of, by tapping in to your heart wisdom, by meditating, by connecting with and having an inner dialogue, an intuitive inner dialogue with your mind, with your body, being the observer of what's happening inside you. We know that our mind is like a constant television program that's going on and on and on and on and on. And we're feeding it from our subconscious mind, from our sensory input, from our analysis. There's like infinite numbers of pieces of information that are happening. But if you can pull yourself back to be the observer of what's happening, just like the infinite number of systems and work that's going on at every level of your body, the bones that are being formed, the minerals that are being broken down, the muscles and tissues that are being torn and rewoven, at every level of every part of our system. We never question it. It's just happening. It's just happening because you are alive. Being alive, having that life force, that light of life moving through you. That interconnectivity is the intelligence of light. And now, when we put that to the outside, we turn that outwards and we really look and feel that interconnectivity, that life and light force that is everywhere. We see it all around our planet, Mother Nature, everything that is alive. And then we look to the people and we see where the imbalances. We see as a holistic health mentor, as a yoga teacher, as a creative and performer, and someone that has spent my life tapping into light and life force and love. We can see the imbalance in the planet. At a holistic level, we're looking too much at the problem and not, and also at the symptom of the problem, and not looking at what the core is. What is the core issue? Where is, did the disharmony start inside humanity? So in understanding the light of love within ourselves, we can look to humanity with so much compassion and see that there has been an imbalance for centuries. Centuries. I don't say that lightly. This journey, this story that we are on, that is happening to be awakening, to be shifting, because there's so much more light on the planet right now than ever before, which is what makes it so exciting to be alive right now. But as we can see that it's been going on for millennia, we can have understanding, we can have knowledge and compassion and wisdom. And whether it's through looking at the history books and textbooks, or knowing what we know that we were educated in school, whether it's right or wrong, we know that there has been wars. We know that there has been famine, there has been disease, there has been corruption and manipulation and control and power. The forces of what we could say the dark side. So if we're coming into the light, we are bringing more awareness, we are bringing more wisdom, we are bringing more light and love to that which is our past. So, again, at the micro and at the macro, that shift in consciousness that's happening right now, this great awakening, this entry into the golden age, is like a baby humanity being born. And birth is no easy process. So, the more that we can really dig into the discomfort of being right now, because right now there's a lot of discomfort of the unknown, of this fear of the future, of this uncertainty. Should I be hopeful? Should I be afraid? And then dropping back into the light of love, the light of love, the intelligence of love, the intelligence of life, interconnectivity, that which we are a part of, that which we consist of. Can you feel it? It's like taking a little candle to the micro level and holding it up and watching as all the shadows dissolve, and that candle then turns into a light bulb, and then that light bulb turns into a massive spotlight, and that massive spotlight turns into a laser beam, and it's working faster and faster as we're bringing more clarity and insight and awareness on what's happening inside us. And at the same time, simultaneously, this is happening outside us at the humanitarian level, at the interconnectivity of all that is happening around us in every country, in every town, in every household, as we're here locked down with our families, our closest friends or relatives. And as we watch this explosion that's happening on the web, on the internet, which is like the interconnectivity, the nervous system of humanity that goes online to tap into what all the different channels are saying that are happening in their neighborhood, in their world, in their interconnectivity within. Now we have all of the main channels that we get through our television sets. We get the main channels that we get inside our computer screens, our telephones, and we're tapping into something, a narrative, a story, information, knowledge, light. Some of it is false, some of it is true. And that is for each one of us to decipher, to filter out through this earthly filter of consciousness. Now, for me personally, my journey in this has been to focus on the hope, to focus on the light. As I have shared in the past, it is very easy to get consumed in fear. And I do know that most of the main channels and networks on television, they push fear. They always have. It's not just in the last year since all of this journey of ours has begun. It has been forever. Even before television, the newspapers, fear, fear, fear. Why is that? I wonder. You know the answer because you have all the truth inside you. And here we are taking in this information, and we have a choice of what to do with it. Every moment we have a choice to focus on the light of love or to get lost in fear. The light of love or lost in fear. So I invite you to take this opportunity to drop into your narrative. What are you focusing on? Right, left, up, down, backwards, forwards, whatever side of the spectrum you stand or you sway, ask yourself why. Does that elevate you or does that bring you down? And maybe you need a little bit of a lift to bring you towards the light of love, and invite yourself to question every narrative that you're listening to. I try and tend to put on a filter every time I listen to something. Most of the time it's through my own searching, or a friend of mine has sent it to me, or a family member has sent something to me to listen to or watch. And I put on my filter and say, okay, what is speaking to my truth? Because my truth wants to be in hope and in the light of love. Because we desperately need that right now. All of us need to remain in the light of love. We need to hold hope. That is how we will collectively change the narrative into the golden age, into the great awakening, because we are finished, tired, done being lost in fear. So I invite you now to hold that hope, to see that light, to feel that love inside you. Courage to surrender. We need courage to surrender to the light of love. The light of love is not found by pushing or trying or fighting to get to it. There needs to be a surrender, and it takes courage to do exactly that. How do you surrender? Now, in sharing my experience with surrendering, I go back about 9 years when I was going through, and I use this little parallel story to invite you to understand this bigger concept. So I went through a short relationship of about 6 weeks with a young man that I had felt in spending time with him that it was the first time my heart opened to a man in some years. And it came to the 6th week, and we spent some time together, and he then informed me that he was no longer going to want to spend this journey with me. Oh, yeah. And here I felt that flutter and that opening, that blossoming of my heart. And instantly, because of the way that my heart learned to open and to get shut down very fast throughout my life, when in regards to men, I could feel it. I was like, okay, it was hurting. It was not feeling good. It was right around Christmas time. And I reached out to a deeply spiritual friend of mine who does channeling and spiritual guidance work. And I got to connect with him over the period of a few days where we went right away deep into, and he'd been friends of mine for a handful of years. And there was something very profound that he kept saying that I was not understanding. Like I heard it, was like, yes, okay, I get it. But when I sat with it, and he kept saying, Lara, you need to surrender to the universe. Because when you can surrender, the universe will provide. Now, you could maybe use the term surrender to God, surrender to Jesus, whatever is your faith or belief system. He was using the universe. So, surrender. What did that mean to me then? At that point, I didn't know. I was under financial straps. My heart was aching. It was right before the holidays. I had been thinking about going to do a Vipassana retreat. And then I got denied, or they were full up. And I got the information about a week before Christmas, around this exactly the same time. So I decided to stay home and meditate and not see any people over the holidays. I was living alone at the time, and we spoke over the course of 3 days, at least 3 or 4 hours a day. And I just decided to meditate on what that meant to surrender to the universe, let go of control. Stop trying to push your life a certain direction. Stop trying to control things. Let go was this constant inner saying, surrender. Oh. And I had a moment in my bathroom where I had a vision of what it would feel like in regards with a relationship to be able to surrender and to fall back, and that someone would be there to catch me. Someone, something, energetically, a person, in this case, a partner in a relationship. And I felt it. I felt what it would feel like to feel someone there to catch me. And that was a very unfamiliar feeling in regards and in terms of the journey of my life with the masculine and partners, including my brothers, my father. I have not had a lot of male figures truly stand behind me and support me. So that sensation, that knowing of being able to trust and to surrender to the masculine, to surrender that there would be support, whether it's friendship, whether it's intimate life, or just purely in love. I didn't know it. So the concept itself was a new birth inside me of having to understand truly that it was unfamiliar to me to know how to surrender, especially to the masculine. Now, if I look in my spiritual journey, I've surrendered many times to something bigger than me. That is, as I've said in the past, I've had a really good way of spiritualizing certain aspects of my life that were not present. So I pushed it up into the spiritual. So, on this journey of surrendering and having the courage to do it, I decided to stay home over Christmas. I meditated on this. I kind of did my own little Vipassana retreat, a little silence, not reaching out to lots of people. And I remember lying in my bathtub and thinking about this guy that I was having my heart open towards. And every time he would come back in my mind, I would just feel this aching in my heart. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, my natural knee jerk reaction is to want to shut down and to close my heart because I don't want to feel the pain of missing this person. But I want to feel love. I want to allow my heart to continue opening. So I shifted the focus onto the guy and just started sending him more love and thoughts and more love and thinking of every moment we shared together and feeling my heart like full in this expansion of pleasure and connection that I had with this human being. And I allowed my heart to heal because I thought, no, I don't want to shut down again because the shutting down brings in the fear, brings in the control, brings in the hurt, brings in the victimhood. I was done with that. I was no longer going to have that rule my path in relationships. So I chose to open my heart to love, just to fully allow that which I was already feeling that I was on the path to with this connection to continue, to open up to love. And wow, over the course of the next month, I witnessed myself fall into surrendering to life, surrendering to the universe, surrendering to my career, my job. And a month later, I met the man that I am with 9 years later. Now, I don't say this as a recipe to go out and find your life partner, but I truly believe that surrendering is one of the hardest things that you can do because you have to trust in love. You have to trust that you will be held. You have to trust that you will be supported. You have to trust that you will be nurtured and taken care of. And through all of that, you're probably going to have to cry. You're going to have to feel totally alone, completely afraid. The breaking down of all of the control matrix that you know to be how you have maneuvered yourself with the ego through life to get and do exactly what you needed has to dissolve. And that takes courage. Courage to surrender. Now, using this on a bigger scale, on whatever it is that you're needing in your life right now to surrender to in order to bring more light of love, whether that's self-love, that's love in relationships, that's love with your family member, that's love with the narratives and the political realms, whether that's love towards a higher being, whether that's love for the planet Earth. You have to go through a surrendering process and a breaking down of all that you know, knowledge, and I'm talking about knowledge of like memory knowledge, things that you've learned in books, things that people have told you. Because true knowledge, it comes from your heart. True knowledge comes from your intuition and your gut. Yes, the brain does wonders in keeping information and cataloging it and keeping it for the right moment to pop back up. But dropping into the light of love is where the true light of knowledge resides. And the order to get to that database of knowledge in your heart, you have to have the courage to surrender. And courage, what is that? The unknown strength that comes from within, this conviction to let go and to trust, to have faith or belief in your inner intelligence, to have faith and belief in a higher intelligence, in a higher power, in a universal intelligence. Courage to have faith in the principles of the universe, the law of the universe. And that is in the light of love. So courage is directly connected to the light of love. And you need to have courage in order to surrender to get to the light of love. But it's like you're circling back in itself, because once you can stand in your complete conviction of courage, you can do anything. It's like when you look up courage, I remember a couple of years ago when this word kept really dropping in for me, and I just Google searched it. And the first thing that came up was I think, speaking around the turn of the century, men going off to war and the courage to leave all that they love behind and go into the unknown, into battle, and to have a belief in something bigger than themselves, that they will be protected and they could go into battle. That's where part of the definition of courage came from. And I was like, okay, well, what if the battle is inside myself? What if that battle is a spiritual war? What if that battle is, etc. ... You fill in the blank. Same concept. To have courage to stand in your truth, leaving all of the safety pacifiers of family, friends, children, whatever it is. And I don't mean literally leaving, but literally standing in your own sovereign power and having courage to trust that you alone have the truth inside you. You alone have the intelligence inside you. You alone are an antenna reaching out into the universe and can connect with that higher power, with that higher intelligence to guide you. Like a flock of birds, they don't talk between each other, but they have an instinct that when the collective says turn right, they all turn right. When they say to swoop down, when they say to cluster, when they say to expand, there is a telepathic beacon between them. And that is an interconnectivity. And we as humans have forgotten our interconnectivity between each other. And right now it is reconnecting. And that is why there are so many more people waking up, because they are having the courage to stand in their sovereign right as human beings, to take back their power and say, I'm going to surrender everything that I know to my own truth. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to break down the matrix of what I have known to be reality and create it anew. And that takes courage. The light of love and the courage to surrender. So, how do we call on it now? Call upon the light of love, call upon the courage to surrender. How do we do that right now? Now, they say that Rome was not built in a day. And we know that any project in life that we put forth is not going to happen fast. And humanity has been pushed into a place of believing that they need quick fixes in order to get out of the dilemmas that they've put themselves in. They need quick fixes like social media and 13-second, 5-second clips of quick dopamine hits of pleasure. That's not how this works. It's not a quick fix that we're looking for. This is a lifelong change that can happen very quick if you truly tune into it. You can get a download of pure intelligence that will transform and blow your life out of the water. Or you can chisel away at it slowly, give a bit of a half-ass go at it, and maybe you'll make some leads and step forward into the light, into courage, into love. But that decision that you have to make, whether it's going to be a slow process or a quick process, is up to you. And you can do this now. Now, every moment now, every moment that we observe ourselves behaving, communicating, interacting with ourselves, from everything from our body, how we're sitting, how we're standing, how we're walking, how we're thinking, what we're saying, how we're saying it. It's like refining your awareness on your little microscope of looking inwards and refining that which is coming out of you. What are the words? What are the thoughts? What are the actions that are coming out of you? The more you refine that to be really in line with your intuition, with your intention, and with that wish to have the courage to surrender into the light of love. The more you want that desire to change, that desire to elevate, that desire to hold hope that nothing can knock you down, that no fear can penetrate you. Now that is going to make you a warrior of light. That will be the boot camp for your inner body, for your inner mind. And that happens every day. And yet people are like, well, I don't have time. I've got kids. I've got a job. I've got this or that, whatever. You have to just live it in everything you do. Cooking breakfast for the family, or going off to your job, or going to study, or whatever it is that you're doing on the back burner of your mind, of your conscious mind, which is already holding multiple pieces of information happening all at the same time. You just have to plug in and say, I want this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to keep tapping into it and saying, I am calling upon this now. I am calling upon this now. Whatever your name is, say your name out loud. Lara, I am calling upon the light of love to be with you now. Mantra it. Create a mantra that's personalized to you, like an affirmation, and say it a few times a day. Write it on a piece of paper. Put it by your bedside. Put it around your house. Put it on your screensaver on your computer. Whatever it is that you are aiming to shift into, to bring more light and more love, and to have the courage to surrender to it, to get out of your own way so that your pure intelligence can do what it does best. Just get out of your own way. Stop controlling. Stop shutting the door. Stop inviting in fear. Surrender. Nope. I decide not to have any reaction, and I'm just going to wait for the light of love to move through me. Be neutral. Be neutral. Watch yourself have reactions, but just keep your mouth quiet. And if you do open your mouth, do it for a little bit less time than normal. Yes, we're in a big space and a big opportunity right now to be triggered by so many things, to have arguments, to have big debates. Don't need to be right. Just be kind, step back, take your place, in surrendering. I surrender to having an opinion about this topic. I surrender to trying to be right. I surrender from trying to prove something. I surrender to the light of love. And I have the courage to do that right now, right now, right now. At every moment that you have that opportunity to react while you're driving in a car at somebody who swerves off the road, it's the same way that someone is swerving into our world right now and trying to change our mind about what we think or how we feel or the narrative that's in front of us or what's going on the news. You decide to react or not. Step back and surrender. Have the courage to surrender from reacting or responding. If someone asks you, say, well, right now I don't really have an opinion about that. I'm protecting myself because it's too emotionally loaded for me. And that's okay to say that. That's what I say right now. I'm sorry, this is not a topic I want to start my day with. I prefer to have my breakfast listening to the birds outside or to some music. Whatever that is, you decide what goes into your conscious mind and you decide what comes out of it. So call upon it now at every moment and celebrate those small successes. Celebrate each day. Wow, I got through this situation without having a reaction. I stayed in my sovereign power. Even you can have your own inner dialogue about what's going on, but also surrender that because we can definitely be what would you call the silent but deadly? We could be very quiet, but we could have a massive energy that's very refutal and rebuttal. So turn it to light. Have compassion. There is no right. There is no right now. I'm not going to fight to push my agenda, to push my narrative. I'm going to call on the light of love and have the courage to surrender to it. Call on it right now. What are you waiting for? Call on it right now. I invite you to take a couple deep breaths. And as my words that have penetrated your ears in whatever way you have received them, I invite you right now to just feel where you're at inside your body. Feel the airflow going into you and out of you. You are alive right now. You are light, energy, intelligence at work every second of every day. Feel that body and mind intelligence happening inside you and trust it. Trust it that it knows what's best for you. And now feel your heart beating in your chest. You can place a hand on your chest if you want. Another deep breath. Maybe some emotion comes through. Maybe you get some tears. Maybe you feel like you want to cry. Maybe you want to laugh. Maybe you're completely still. Accept whatever is moving through you at any moment, and especially right now. And you can imagine a beam of white light going out the top of your head, blasting out the ceiling of wherever you are at, out into the sky, day or night. And that light is a little beacon of light reaching out to other beacons of light. And we are connecting out there in the ethers. All the beacons of light, of love, are connecting. You have instantly called upon the light of love, and you've had the courage to surrender to it right now as you sit here and reach out the top of your energetic body, reach into the infinite universe, the Christ consciousness, the God source, whatever it is that you title it. Call upon it to meet you. Call upon it to rain down upon you this source of love, to fill you up and give you the courage to continue to surrender. Oh, and in great gratitude, thank you, light of love. infinite intelligence, source of creation and oneness and unity, this collective consciousness, this web that we are connected to. Thank you. With great gratitude, I know I am connected. I am never alone. I am never alone. Because we are one. Coming back to yourself, you can open your eyes, look around you, look outside the window. It's not snowing anymore here. Feel anew. Take whatever of my words have resonated with you today. Take them with you. Hold on to them, cherish them, protect them, share them. They're not mine. I'm just passing forward that which has been given to me from Source, from the infinite consciousness, from teachers, guides, people who have shared that wisdom in books and poems, in talks, in speeches, in lectures, in prayers throughout my life. And I'm just transmitting them through to you because it is all the collective of truths that I have put into my little toolkit. And I just want to share it with all of you. We need courageous love now. And I hope that I've given you a little bit more. Sowing the seeds of hope. That's what we're doing all together. One breath at a time, one moment at a time, one now reality at a time. Thank you guys for being with me one more time. This is Courageous Lara, over and out. Hello, all you beautiful listeners. It is that time for a little shameless self-promotion. If you've enjoyed this podcast or any of the previous podcasts I have recorded, I would be so grateful if you could subscribe and rate and possibly review down below. So whatever your podcast listening app is, there is usually an area where you can leave a review of what you thought. Even just a few words can make a huge difference. And as I am new to podcasting, it will make even a bigger difference to just get the word out there and also see what you thought. Thanks so much for your support and keep on listening.